Is the Kansas City Chiefs defense overrated? We're breaking that down and more for you on this episode of Takes on Takes.
You are Locked On NFL Scouting with the Draft Dudes, your daily podcast for NFL and college football scouting. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What's better than this? It's guys being dudes here on the Locked On NFL Scouting Podcast. We're the Draft Dudes. I'm Joe Marino from Locked On Bills. He's Kyle Krabs from Locked On Dolphins. And we are your NFL experts here with you daily to talk team building across the league on the Locked On NFL Scouting Podcast with the Draft Dudes, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Want to issue a big thank you, shout out, and welcome to our everydayers. Those of you who never miss a single episode, we appreciate y'all being here very, very much. This episode is brought to you by FanDuel, and you could start the season with a big return on FanDuel. New customers can place a $5 bet, and you'll get started with $150 in bonus bets if you win your first $5 bet. Just visit FanDuel.com to get started.
Okay. You kind of did it with the cold open, teased the Chiefs defense take that I can't wait to hear somebody try to build a case that this is an overrated defense, but you go right ahead. I don't know who gave it, so let's find out.
It's Bub coming in hot with this take.
Bills fan Bub on Chiefs Week has a Chiefs overrated take.
I'm a little surprised by that, to be honest with you. Here's what Bub says. Although Kansas City currently has a top 5 scoring defense, they are the only team in the top 5 with an EPA outside of the top 8. They rank 15th in defensive EPA. I believe regression is coming to their defense, and they will slide to 20 to 21 points per game, down from 18. This will be why they don't go 17-0.
I don't think they're going to go 17-0, but it's because I don't think any team's going to end up winning 21 consecutive games, right, in a single season. You can make the counter argument that what is the most high variance element of playing a football game?
Takeaways?
Yes. And where are the Chiefs in takeaways? How many turnovers do they have through?
Not
10
many.
10 weeks?
Not many. Yeah, not many.
They have 8. They have 8. That ranks 23rd in the NFL. Yep. So I think you can equally make the argument that law of averages says turnovers are going to increase, in which case their EPA ranking would rise defensively. Yeah. So I think this goes either way, but I look at a team that is averaging 3.7 yards per rush allowed. They've given up and because of that, they win on early downs. They've given up the 6th least amount of first downs. They are 4th in the league defensively in yards. Yardage allowed since week 1. When Baltimore rushed for 185, rushing yards allowed 74, 82, 55, 46, 101, 33, 95, 78. No team has gone over 320 yards of offense against this defense since week 1. Like, I don't know. I don't want to go down the overrated rabbit hole here because this coaching staff and the talent, it's pretty good.
I would say if there's anything I'd point to with the Chiefs that I'd be concerned about with them defensively is that they blitz a ton and don't get a lot of pressure. Number 3 in blitz rate in the NFL, number 20 in pressure rate, number 25 in sack percentage. And they obviously have a bit of a question mark with the corner opposite of McDuffie. Chamari Connor's become their slot. And then it's like Nas Johnson, who's 2022 7th-round pick out of Marshall, who's played less than 200 snaps. They're kind of relying on him with some of the injuries they've had at corner. So I think they just got to figure out their pass rush a little bit. But I think the Chiefs defense is excellent. I don't know if it's an elite defense, if that's where we're going to go. But yeah, I think it's the best unit on their team. So there's that.
Would it be fair to say, like, at least from my perspective, when I think about what needs to happen for Kansas City, Chris Jones is going to put on the cape here eventually defensively, right? It kind of feels like
he has at times, yeah.
But when it's go time, I think that's where my confidence is that they're going to have the player performance that they need to lean on.
Yeah, I think there's more for Jones. I think there's more for Uche. If they get a Menu back, which they open up his window, that's going to matter. Mm-hmm. I think Mike Dana's been a better pass rusher in previous years I think they're just now kind of getting Leo Chenal going on some blitz stuff too. I think there's obviously a lot of meat on the bone where you look for, okay, where does that get better? I think there's a pretty clear path. But yeah, I agree. I don't think the Chiefs go 17-0. And if you want to say it's going to be because of their defense, that's fine. But I agree with you that it's more, I don't know that that's really hard to win that many games in a row.
Yeah.
Jared with the Bryce Young take, and this is a little bit different. So let's stick with me here. Jared, Bryce Young has regained his confidence. However, regardless of how he performs the rest of the season, the Panthers must sign a quarterback in free agency to compete with Bryce for the starting job. And he mentioned specifically Justin Fields.
What do you think of the contrast of traits with Justin Fields and Bryce Young?
They're very different.
Yeah. So I think that if I'm going to give Bryce an honest chance to be the quarterback of the future, and that makes a lot of sense based on what Carolina gave up to be in the position to draft him, that you don't want to have all that sunk cost if you don't have to. So if he shows some life this season, great. Like I think they really need to lean into that. I would like, if you're going to have an authentic quarterback competition, the guy that you bring in to compete with him to be a little bit more of a mirror of what his traits are, so that you can evaluate them both equally within the same concepts that you're trying to run, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, that's interesting. Is there, who's like Bryce Young? Gardner Minshew? Like, is there a name there that intrigues you? I know that's a big question
really on the free agent.
Right, but you've done this to me, so I don't feel that bad about doing that to you. Do you think it's that important, though? Like, I mean, obviously Andy Dalton's very different than Bryce Young, but when you think about...
I just think Justin Fields is such an extreme, not the same player at all.
Yeah.
So it's like, all right, we're going to try to run... I don't know, Canales, is he going to try to adopt the Tampa Bay vertical passing game? Is he they're going to do more of like the West Coast offense-y type stuff? And like, if you're going to spend on somebody to come in and you're going to lean into the West Coast offense-y stuff where Bryce can maybe be more effective, do you have any confidence that that's where Justin Fields is going to be?
I got the guy. It's Tyrod Taylor. Bring in Tyrod Taylor. That's your guy.
Yes.
It's Tyrod Taylor. It's 100% Tyrod Taylor. Okay, the weekly huddle. The most important skill for a general manager is self-scouting his own team and understanding when the right time is to move on from players and replace them with youth.
Yes. Because there's on-the-field implications of that as far as talent that's on the field and getting the right talent in position on the field. There's economic impacts of that from a salary cap perspective if you choose to pay the wrong people and bring them back or don't bring them back. And then there's opportunity cost impact on that when you get into the draft and your ability to build out the rest of your roster. But the first decision everybody has to make at the beginning of the offseason is what they're doing with their guys that were under contract last year.
And they're the ones that you have the most information on, right?
Right. You've been around every day.
Right. You got to be able to get those right. I totally agree. And I'm glad that that's become more of a talking point. I feel like maybe since Bill Belichick's been in the media space, that's become a bigger emphasis, and I'm glad to see that. I think that's good. Okay, plenty more to get to on the other side of it, including really aggressive Mike McCarthy take, pesky wild card teams. We got to talk about fried pickles as well, so be sure to stick with us. With big wireless providers, what you see is never what you get. Somewhere between the store and the first month's bill, the price you thought you were paying magically skyrockets. With Mint Mobile, you'll never have to worry about gotchas ever again. When Mint Mobile says $15 a month when you purchase a 3-month plan, they mean it. Say bye-bye to overpriced wireless plans, jaw-dropping monthly bills, and unexpected overages. Mint Mobile is here to rescue you with premium wireless plans starting at $15 a month. All plans come with high-speed data and unlimited talk and text delivered on the nation's largest 5G network. Use your own phone with any Mint Mobile plan and bring your phone number along with your existing contacts. Ditch overpriced wireless with Mint Mobile's deal and get 3 months of premium wireless service for $15 a month. To get this new offer, customer offer and your new 3-month premium wireless plan for just $15 a month, go to mintmobile.com/LockedOnNFL. That's mintmobile.com/LockedOnNFL. Cut your wireless bill to $15 a month at mintmobile.com/LockedOnNFL. $45 upfront payment required, equivalent to $15 a month. New customers on first 3-month plan only. Speed slower above 40 gigabytes on unlimited plan. Additional taxes, fees, and restrictions apply. See Mint Mobile for details. Get ready to tackle the NFL action with FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook, because right now, new customers can bet $5, get $150 in bonus bets if you win. The FanDuel Sportsbook app gives you everything you need to place live bets on the NFL all in one place. So when you get a hunch in the middle of the game, you can check out the latest stats, view live play-by-play, and so much more on the same page where you place your bets. Just visit FanDuel.com to join today, and you'll get started with $150 in bonus bets if your first $5 bet wins. That's FanDuel.com. Never waste a hunch and make every moment more with FanDuel, an official sportsbook partner of the NFL.
Do I have a stat for you? Stat of the day.
Okay.
Did a piece for the 33rd team on Caleb Williams. And it was looking at his performance thus far this season relative to what he was on tape at USC. How much of the underwhelming performance is a concern for Caleb and who he is. And I won't spoil the whole story, but in looking at Caleb Williams this season, he had about 10% of his pass attempts during his final season at USC were pass attempts that were 40 or 20 plus air yards downfield while holding the ball for at least 3 seconds. You got that?
20% more than 3 seconds.
Yeah. So 20 plus air yards, 3 seconds. That was about 10% of his attempts on the season. Those same circumstances this year, it's about 9%. So it's almost the same amount of volume of his attempts. What completion percentage do you think Caleb Williams has this year on 20 plus air yard attempts while holding the ball for at least 3 seconds?
15%.
You read the story?
No, I didn't, but I look at these. I live in these numbers every single day of my life. Yeah.
Yeah, he's 4 of 25 after completing 55% of his passes last year at USC in the same circumstances. I think his sub 2.5 and 0 to 10 air yards throws are actually very parallel to what it was at USC. But this is like the big area where Caleb was really good at USC that he's finding life is very different.
They're real different. Yeah. Braden says the Chargers and Broncos are not just boring to watch, but also have no upside to make a playoff run. They will be free wins for the opposing side come January. Bengals and Dolphins would at least make for a watchable wild card weekend on the AFC side.
I don't know. I would not be quick to dismiss the Chargers as a laydown opponent. And this is coming from somebody that looked at their roster in the offseason, was very skeptical of what the outlook was going to be for the Chargers this year. But they play great defense, and they are capable of running the ball. Those things usually translate late in the year. So all you need is a game script bounce of the ball that goes their way, particularly early in a game. And I could see them being a very tough out.
I'll tell you this. I would much rather play the Broncos or Chargers than the Bengals or the Dolphins in the playoffs in the first round.
I think that's fair.
So
because
to give some merit,
playability is a fear factor with those teams that I think the other games are more methodical football games to play. And you can lean into that and trust that you have explosives to make those few key plays.
So, yeah, but I agree. I think he kind of misses me by saying it's a laydown game, but I do think that there's merit to, I'd rather play the Chargers or Broncos than the Bengals or Dolphins.
Yeah.
Peter, fried pickles are better than French fries. You can argue for either with dipping sauces, but even on their own, fried pickles have that tangy crunch that just wins out.
You don't like pickles, do you?
Oh, no, I do. I love pickles. Yeah, absolutely.
You do love pickles.
Yeah, I like fried pickles a lot too.
So would you take them over French fries?
Here's the thing that I'll say here. I think there's more variance with fried pickles. Like if you get good fried pickles, they're bomb, right? Like they are better than
crispy,
French fries.
But a little doughy on the inside still.
Yeah, but dude, you get some fried pickles that you're like, why am I eating this? You know,
I mean, it's a glorified dill potato chip, or alternatively, it's all just soggy, and it's not like it's soft. If it's soft breading, I'm out because then,
like it's a hard needle to thread. Yeah, like the pickles got to be crispy too, right? It's
Would you take a good fry? Is there any French fry variation you would take over a good fried pickle?
Man, we've got places in where I live that are like one-offs, standalone, like fried chicken places, and you get the taters there, the potato wedges from something like that. Boy, there's no chance I'm taking fried pickles over those. But any other like normal French fry that I would get at a restaurant, I'd probably take the great fried pickles.
How about sweet potato fries?
They're fine.
I think sweet potato fries are the best kind of French fry.
I disagree. They're fine. When I want a healthier option, yes, I will go with that.
Okay. Would you rather regular baked potato or baked sweet potato?
I'd rather have the regular baked potato because I could put all the stuff on it that I like.
With put some stuff on.
No, with sweet potato, you're pretty much just putting butter.
Not necessarily.
With a regular sweet potato, we're going ranch dressing. We're going cheese.
Ranch?
Oh, absolutely.
You put ranch dressing on a baked potato?
Oh, 1,000,000%.
You butter? The only person on the planet who does
No,
it.
I don't.
You don't do sour cream?
Butter, cheese. I go with the ranch over the sour cream.
Ooh. Is that a Buffalo thing?
Oh, it's a Joe thing. I don't know who else. My wife does it too. I've introduced her that. Put some ranch on your baked potato next time, folks. A little cheese, a little butter. You'll be real happy.
Sweet potato and be happier.
Yeah, put some. Yeah,
just be like, just let people like things. It's fine.
Well, no, I will have I'll have a sweet potato for lunch. It's like a normal lunch meal. I'll just eat a sweet potato. So I do have that, but like I would rather have a baked potato.
Okay,
a regular one. What do they call that? I don't remember what they're called. My wife sent me to the store for potatoes and put like the type of potato, and I was like, boy, I don't know what kind of potato this is. But it turns out that that's just a regular name for like a normal potato. You know what it's called? No. Just a regular bag of potatoes.
Come on, it's got like a bag of potatoes.
No, yeah, but she put this word, and during the break, I will look it up. Joe at work. This feels so aggressive to me. So I want to try to understand. No, dude.
Russet?
Yeah, russet. That's the word. I'm like, I didn't know russet.
This is the potato.
It's just a regular potato. She said, get 3 russet potatoes. I'm like, boy, I'm going to be on an absolute search here to figure out what that is. Nope. Just a regular potato. Thank God they put it on the bag, you know? You ever get that way? Your wife sends you to the grocery store. You're like, boy, I'm not getting this right. They send you for butter. You don't know if it's supposed to be salted.
Brother, I'm out there Googling.
Every time.
And then I'll Google like what aisle is it in so that I'm not just aimlessly walking up and down. Like some aisles, it could be in some things could be in 4 different aisles.
Yeah, it's insane.
And they're not next to each other that I could just run the gauntlet and be done with it either.
I FaceTime her every time. Here it is. I'm like, which one of these?
Tell me where to go. What do you want?
But I'm even there. I'm like, okay, here's the 15 different options of this. And my wife's crazy about ingredients. Which one do you want? So that's part of the deal. Joe at work. Mike McCarthy will be a head coach for one more team before he calls it a career.
Probably not. I think
I'd be stunned.
The probabilities of that is pretty lean. Guy got 2 long-term chances for contending teams, and I don't think Dallas's situation is. I wouldn't put him at the top of the blame game to play with Dallas, but
I think in a world where trends matter with head coaches and the appetite, you know, we went through the McVay. Anybody that had coffee with him, I think everyone's looking for the next Dan Campbell. That's what everybody's going to want. And boy, I couldn't think of anything more opposite of Dan Campbell than Mike McCarthy.
Mm-hmm.
So I think his resume is very good. Like he's a very successful head coach in the NFL. I just don't think he's going to be the dynamic personality that teams are going to be eager to line up for as a third opportunity guy. I just don't see it. Sam Teat says, it's more likely a team falls off and slips into irrelevancy by firing a long-tenured coach and making a new hire rather than just sticking with the veteran coach. In other words, the grass is less green on the other side in the current coaching market. I wonder how much of the reason Sam brought this up. Sam's a Steelers fan. There's a lot of fire Mike Tomlin Steelers fans. I don't know if you're aware of this or not. There's a lot of them.
Yeah, because of the lack of playoff success and I don't want to call him like a purgatory coach, but like always competitive, but not Steelers fans don't want to be competitive. They want to compete for championships. And that has not been Pittsburgh's reality in the last 8 years or so.
So I'm guessing that's a practical application. There's a lot of fire McDermott people as well in Bill's world, so that's definitely a thing.
I don't know. I think there's something inherently valuable of being in position to compete every year. You know, like and maybe it's because like my team has had win 15 years with like 2 playoff appearances, but like I don't thumb my nose at the idea of being a winning program and being in position to be healthy at the end of a year, and when you know you're going to be competitive, and then you have a better chance, or maybe you're not healthy but you still have an opportunity to go play in a playoff game like that. I think all that matters. I think there's some very real questions about Tomlin with the offensive staff. I mean, they scored 308 and 304 points in the last 2 seasons before this year, but then they made the quarterback changes.
Yeah,
they made a coaching staff change. They're in line for almost 400. They're 12th in scoring offense. So I think that he's made some healthy changes.
Yeah, and moving away from a quarterback like Ben Roethlisberger is not. It doesn't happen overnight for
especially
teams,
a team that keeps winning in that process.
Right. I think that says a lot. I would have no appetite for this if I was a Pittsburgh Steelers fan at all. So, yeah, I think if you got a guy that you believe in that can do it, I mean, you got to understand the life cycles that exist in the NFL, and like there's transitional years, but to be able to win through that, I mean, that says a lot about what's in place. Yeah, unless you assess the situation, you realize that it's run its course. There's no more ceiling left to achieve. Like there is losing, the message is being lost.
Yeah,
I mean, it's hard to find. That's why there's so much turnover in the league at head coach. I mean, it's not always better. Look at Seattle. Look at Seattle. I think that's a great example of this.
Yeah,
boy, they're not better because Mike McDonald's their head coach. They're not, and they're talented. I think they'd be a better team if Pete Carroll was their head coach, and I'm not a Pete Carroll guy.
I think there's a lot of foundational install that's happening. I mean, just look at what they did.
Vrabel to land. Come on, man.
It's not a valuable position, but you think about Seattle and just like their investments. They signed at linebacker, right? They signed Jerome Baker, and they trained Jerome Baker for Ernest Jones, and Tyrell Dotson played like 98% of the snaps, and then he gets cut.
Yeah,
and it's just like, when you change at the top as compared to something that's stable, I do think you run more risk of more things below it not working, and that continuously makes your life harder to get back to the level of sustainability that you had.
All right, coming up on the other side of it, we're talking Patriots, Rams, tight end, Turkey, all kinds of stuff. Be sure to stick with us. Time is our most precious commodity, so don't waste it scrolling through the same mind-numbing content for hours and hours. How can you spend it wisely to improve yourself? Our sponsor, Hillsdale College, is offering more than 40 free, that's right, free, online courses, including Constitution 101, Introduction to Free Market Economics, The Rise and Fall of the Roman Republic, and more. All of Hillsdale's courses are self-paced so that you can start whenever and tune in wherever. Plus, you can go deeper with readings, quizzes, discussions, or just enjoy the lectures. Go right now to hillsdale.edu/lockedon to enroll. There's no cost, and it's easy to get started. That's hillsdale.edu/lockedon to register. Hillsdale.edu/lockedon. All right, August always gives me several to pick from. This is the one I went with. August says the Patriots are an extremely scrappy team that won't make the playoffs, but no team will want to play them in December. So here's my take. The Patriots will beat a team in December, and that loss will effectively cost them a playoff spot.
Yeah, I think there's a great chance that this happens.
Well, I know a team that plays them twice in December. What are their other matchups against?
So they have Chargers week 17.
Ooh, yikes. Where's that game?
In LA.
Okay.
They have at Arizona, December 15th.
Ooh.
Bills twice. So Bills, playoff seeding implications.
Yeah, I think the Bills need to be a top 2 seed.
The Chargers very much going to be in the thick of the wild card race. And we went over yesterday, their next 4 or 5 games is like a potential return closer to 500 type. And then if Cincinnati makes a run, who plays the Chargers this weekend on Sunday Night Football, if Miami makes a run, who else is in that bucket? I don't think the Colts are going to make a run, but ironically enough, the Colts play the Patriots. And the Patriots play on November 24th. They play the Dolphins in 2 weeks.
A little bit of a problem, this team here, huh? And that's in New England, right? If I'm not mistaken.
No, it's in Miami.
You already did that game. Okay, well, that's helpful. Oh, because they have 2 in a row at home. Okay, and Patriots are one of them. Raiders and Patriots. All right. Yeah, I like the take. I think it's a good take there from August. Rega says turkey is a top-tier protein. Rega, R-A-I-G-A.
I thought it was Ray Gun, like the Australian breakdancer.
No idea who that is.
That you didn't the viral girl from the Olympics that was doing like the.
Oh, that's her name?
Her breakdancing name is Ray Gun. Yeah.
Oh wow, yeah, terrific. What she does there. This Rega, turkey is a top-tier protein. Most people just don't know how to cook it properly. They don't season it beneath the skin or inside the cavity. Cook it way too long in the oven and then cut into it immediately instead of giving it time to rest.
I don't like that phrase, the cavity.
Guess what? The cavity of the bird, man. I am in the weeds on studying cooking turkey for the last 6 months, so I have a lot to say here. But I'll let you got any thoughts here?
We put seasoning on it. We put it in the oven. We bake it for however long based on the size of the bird, and that's it.
Yeah. So I'm all the way out on oven roasted turkeys. They either got to be deep fried or they got to be smoked. I'm in on smoking turkeys. You got to brine the turkey. Step 1, brine your turkey, folks. If you don't brine your turkey, get that out of here. Don't even serve that to anybody. Brine your turkey. You can do a wet brine. You can do a dry brine. Then yes,
how do you stuffing if you don't?
You got to have, you make sacrifices, sir. You take the good turkey over the stuff. You got to live with that. You can make stuffing other ways. You can do it. Then you got to season it. He's exactly right. Or she, I don't know, Rega. You got to season the bird, but also you got to get underneath that membrane and get underneath the skin and season the actual meat. Otherwise, you're just seasoning the skin. You don't cook it in the oven, and you must let it rest no less than 45 minutes. You got to let it rest, and that redistributes the juices to the fibers throughout the bird, and it'll be much better. So make sure you do those things and enjoy your holidays. Kieran says the Bills. Did you have anything you wanted to add there? You always get very annoyed.
Good.
The only thing we need now is a country music take, and Kyle will be all the way out. Kieran says the Bills will re-ink Greg Rousseau and Christian Benford this summer while letting go of Rasul Douglas and taking a cornerback with their first-round pick in the 2025 draft.
They should definitely re-sign Benford. He's a stud.
That'll happen, yeah. I think the Diamador Lenore contract was a nice little idea of where that'll be.
Yeah.
I think he'll get five. I think he'll get 500
for a day 3 pick out of Villanova, huh?
Yeah, dude. Yeah, I think he goes 5 years, 100. I think that's what you get from Benford.
Okay. And then Rousseau, you and I talked off air about. We think that's going to be between 22 and 25-ish.
Yep.
Okay, they'll move on from Vaughn. So there's an offset there, like add new big contract, get out of old big contract.
Yeah.
And move out of Rasul. You tell me where you're at with Rasul Douglas.
I love Rasul Douglas, but this is going back to the Weekly Huddle's take where it's like you got to get ahead of guys. I mean, Rasul's never been an athlete. Is he going to be 30? I think if he comes back, he's got to go on the Stephon Gilmore plan, go into zone defenses 1 year at a time for like $10 million. And maybe that's in Buffalo, and maybe he can be like their dime defensive back. Where I think I get lost on the. Go ahead, sorry.
Yeah, you say you ain't gonna pay $10 million a year on a 1 year deal for a dime defensive back.
Well, if it really came down to it, the point is I think that you are likely to move on from Rasul Douglas, let him walk in free agency, even though he's been very good. The part where I get lost on this is picking a corner in the first round. I don't think that will happen. I think if anything, they'll give Kyer Elam that opportunity to start next year. Or they'll draft some guy in the 5th round that'll be really good.
That was what I was just getting ready to say is the body of work of the day 3 hits.
Yeah,
speaks for itself.
Yeah, I just don't think that they're gonna. And Brandon Beane even said it that year. He's like, my mailman's telling me to draft a corner, and then he friggin' trades up for Kyer Elam after he panics because the Chiefs take Trent McDuffie and there's no corners left, and it wound up kind of not being a great choice. So I just don't think the Bills will be in the market for a first.
How many times does that have to happen? How many times do teams have to do this where they knee-jerk reaction?
It never works.
And it's like, oh, let's go. We get this last guy on the board. We got to go get him, and we're going to give extra assets to do it.
Not even a good scheme fit with, like Kyer Elam was a press man corner, and the Bills run zones 75% of the time. No wonder it's been a hard transition.
Did a positional run, and I think this year specifically has been a great reminder of the Bills' questions at wide receiver, right? And they're, everybody eats and they buy into it and they play a couple games. It's like, you know what? We can get Amari Cooper for
right.
What draft pick in season for a team that's underwhelming? Yeah, let's go do that. And there's a bunch of those examples that happened across the league. And like pass rush guys, there's always 1-year mercenary pass rushers on the market in July.
Right.
You can find them every year.
Sign them then instead of falling over yourself to trade for.
Don't panic, react, draft a defensive end.
Right. Yeah. So. Last one here, Jonathan. Davis Allen will absolutely show the Rams there's no need to draft a tight end this offseason because he's the future of the position.
No, he's not.
Ooh. Kyle, and I knew this was kind of fresh. He just played. He targeted him quite a bit. He's a big-time athlete.
He's not a mismatch player. He's a perfectly fine option for you know who my comp for Davis Allen was? One of the 14 tight ends they have on that roster, Hunter Long. It's like the same kind of.
Got a little more juice, right? Maybe a little more juice.
Does he?
A little more of just like body control and athleticism. I don't know.
Maybe a little bit, but the future of the position, no.
Future.
Go get a mismatch player at that position.
You think that's important for the Rams? I feel like they kind of try to get it
because Cooper Kupp, the reliability there. There's been durability questions. There's durability questions with Puka Nacua.
Yeah,
going back to BYU. So, like, I think you need to have another identity piece for them moving forward, especially as they get ready to transition away from Cooper Kupp, who, when the Rams were losing, kind of flirted with the idea of trading it before the trade deadline. There you go. That's going to do it for us here on Locked On NFL Scouting. I'm Kyle Krabs. He is Joe Marino. We appreciate you guys, as always, for checking out the show. We hope you have a great rest of your day, but that is going to do it for us this week. We'll be back on Monday to react to all of the action over the weekend. We hope to see you then.